What is up, though, Lions fans? We are back. You know, the Motor City Cats, back at it. Came to give you stats. Not even a little bit of static. Well, maybe just a little bit. Whatever you do. Make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. We got the fresh hoodie going on. We got the fresh Lions merch. The hat's coming. We're supposed to come at the same time. Don't know. You know, sometimes they split things. But we got some things that we're going to get into today. We're going to be talking about the Lions' path to the first round bye. You know, that is a Motor City Cats production. Detroit Lions in first round bye. Going on vacation. They're not going to go on a boat trip, though. It's not going to be a bunch of dudes with their shirt off wearing jeans and Timbs in a picture. Shout out Minnesota Vikings. We're not doing that. However, if the Detroit Lions continue on their way, led by this offense, led by this defense, led by every phase, offense, defense, and special teams, we're all putting in work. You can pretty much book. I don't know where you would go when you're in the first round, but I don't know if you actually leave the United States. I don't know if you go vacation in Canada. I don't know what you do. I think you just kind of hang around and keep everything ready. You know what I mean? Just be loose. Rest up your body a little bit. I don't think you go anywhere and do anything crazy. Go to Niagara Falls, any of that stuff. Maybe you do. I don't know. I've never played in the NFL and had a first round bye, so I wouldn't know. But you can pretty much book that to happen. Now, before we get into the scenarios and all these things of how the Detroit Lions can get the first round bye, I would just like to point out something really, really ridiculous that I saw. And of course, most of the ridiculous things these days, shout out Matt Derry, most of the ridiculous things these days are coming outside of Detroit. They're coming from the national media, so on and so forth. There's an article. I came across this article last night when I was prepping for the show. And the thing that I always say is that the national media doesn't know anything about the Detroit Lions. I don't think they really watch the games. I don't know what it is, but it is always someone in the national media spouting garbage, utter garbage, BS, if you will, about the Detroit Lions. All right, so this one comes from, let's see, who is this? This is Darva Sharma. Okay, Darva Sharma. It says 49ers $40 million star could be offseason target for Lions. All right, so 49ers $40 million star could be offseason target for Lions. All right, let's see who it is. Why is this $40 million target star a target for the Detroit Lions? Let's see. It says the Detroit Lions picked up their most dominant win of the 2024 campaign in Week 11, defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 52-6. Notice how I said Jacksonville Jaguars and not Wires, because it's Wars. It ain't Wires. Okay? All right. So Dan Campbell's squad is 9-1 and has sole possession of first place in the NFC North heading into the final 7 games of the season. Welcome in TaylorMade Media. Yes, you are correct. But this one is crazy. Listen to this, okay? The Lions have one of the deepest rosters in the NFL and have very few glaring weaknesses. Though the unit has improved in 2024, Detroit's secondary still leaves a ton to be desired. What team are you watching? My friend, we have the number one defense on third down. We have the number one turnover streak at 14 games in the entire NFL. Most of those turnovers are interceptions. We have 11 interceptions from our safeties. Safeties have 11 interceptions. Carlton Davis adds 2 more, which brings it to 13. Our secondary has 13 interceptions in 10 games. That's almost the amount of Jordan Love throwing interceptions in 8 games. What? K ain't pressed. Okay, we could talk about that in a minute. What team is this guy watching? All right, so I'm not even going to read the whole article. I'm just going to, there's a couple more points here. Okay, and it gets even crazier. So the secondary that has 13 interceptions, the secondary which helps us give up the 5th least points in the NFL per game, right? The secondary gives up yards. You know why the secondary gives up yards? Because you can't run the football. Ask Joe Mixon with his 2.7 yards per carry how he ran the football. Ask Travis Etienne how he ran the football. Just like 5 carries for, or what he had, 6. I don't think he had more than 20 yards. Ask these people, okay? So teams are going to pass against us. Then, I don't care if it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is an NFL team. It is the highest disparity of yardage in 70 years. We outgained them by 475 yards? It was 645 yards to 170 yards. 170. The vast majority of that 170 was passing because they were out of the game very early on. And then if we say the vast majority of the 170 yards was passing, they still couldn't eclipse 200 yards. If your secondary gives up 200 yards passing only, it's a great day. What did they give up? 150? But it's a glaring weakness. Okay, now he goes on to say some more craziness, okay? He says, with the Lions in the market for a defensive back this offseason, Bleacher Report's scouting department believes San Francisco 49ers cornerback Charvarius Ward would be a logical fit in Detroit. All right, so here's the thing. If the Detroit Lions are in the market for a cornerback this offseason, I don't know how they are. There's only one way. That means Carlton Davis is not being re-signed. You know why Carlton Davis wouldn't be re-signed in Detroit? Because he's already shown that he fits. So they're not going to want to let him out of the door. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell don't want that man to leave. But if his price tag is too hefty, then he might not be re-signed. Now you're asking us to go ahead and get a guy that's making $40 million? Bro, the logical thing, because they said Charvarius Ward would be the logical fit. No, he wouldn't be the logical fit. The logical fit would be the guy that's already on your team helping you to this 9-1 record. The guy that had 2 interceptions in one game after you had thrown 5 to help you get back in and win that game. That guy who's already on your roster, who's in the last year of his deal, the one that you traded a 3rd round pick for, that's the guy. That's the guy that you're bringing back. The national media, I am convinced, simply writes stories and simply says words. That's it. You write stories and you say words. You don't actually understand the teams that you're covering. And if you're not assigned to the Detroit Lions, don't cover them. Don't make suggestions like, hey, the Detroit Lions need a new head coach. They're in the market. Dan Campbell's on his last year of his deal. Dan Campbell's here for 6 more years, bro. Like, they just make stuff up. They just make stuff up. It doesn't make any sense. So for those of you that just came in, Charvarius Ward is who we should sign this offseason because 1, our secondary is bad. And 2, we're going to be in the market for a cornerback this offseason because not even addressing Carlton Davis on the roster. We just, for some reason, we're going to be in the market. Okay. Now, K ain't pressed. I don't know if you're still here, K, but please let us know why you believe that we are going to get smashed by the Colts. Okay, because that one I don't understand. So please, if you are still here, I hope you are. Let us know why you believe an ass kicking is coming. All right. Okay, Kay. I'm going to give you the floor. Let us know why this ass kicking is coming. Please give us your evidence, and we'll get into the discussion. We'll definitely get into discussion. And Kay, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. I'm here Monday through Wednesday, taking a break on Thursday. Going to be back on Friday. So please make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share with everybody. Motor City Don P is here for all of you. Frog Crop, what is going on, my guy? I am glad you found me. You found me. Back in it. All right, so here's what Kay says. Says because our schedule gets tough starting Sunday, and Amon-Ra brothers said on their podcast that it's gonna be hard. Plus, their QB is a big guy. That's true. Anthony Richardson is a big guy. He's also not in great shape, apparently. He taps out. He gets tired. I'm going to tell you what, Kay. If Anthony Richardson runs into Brian Branch a few times, Anthony Richardson is going to stop. He's going to be hesitant about carrying that ball too much. Okay? Smash and grab. Shout out Easy. Shout out Easy of the Woodward Heavyweights, which I'll probably have him on next week. Our schedules didn't align this week, but I'll probably have him on next week. Okay? I won't be able to get him on Friday because he's not going to be available. I'm going to try to get somebody else on. But shout out Easy. Yesterday, he wasn't on the heavyweights because he took his son to go to, I forget where it was, DC something. Okay? And Brian Branch was there. Signing autographs and things of this nature. So he asked him about the smash and grab nickname. Brian Branch, who is Smash, approved of the nickname, but he just said you have to ask Jay Curb about the grab part. Okay, but Brian Branch is on board with smash and grab. So now we are waiting for the approval from Kirby Joseph. Okay, the smash part is why I'm not worried about Anthony Richardson. Another reason as to why I'm not worried about Anthony Richardson. And Kay, here's another insight as to why they said that their schedule gets hard starting Sunday. Is because they're going to have to play 4 games in 18 days. We saw what happened last year when it came down this stretch with Thanksgiving, where they had difficulty with the Packers and the Bears. Same situation is coming, but it's just flipping. Okay, the teams. The Packers are not coming here for Thanksgiving. The Bears are. And then after the Bears, the next Thursday night, we have the Packers. Okay? So it's just one of those situations. We've got the Colts, and then we've got a short week and got the Thanksgiving game, and then we got the Bears, right? Then with the Bears, it's a divisional game. Okay? So you got a short week, and then you got a divisional game, and then the very next week you have another divisional game. This is the difficult part. This is why it's tough. And then after the Packers, you go to prime time and you play the Bills. Okay? Do I think we can beat the Bears at home? Well, an emphatical hell yes, I believe we can beat the Bears at home. Listen, the Bears have a very gimmicky offense right now. And I don't mean gimmicky like they do a lot of tricks and all these things. When I watch the Bears, after they fired Shane Waldron and they brought Thomas Brown in to be the offensive coordinator, their offense is predicated on very short, quick throws. Very short, very quick. Okay? This offense produced, I'm going to say, they scored 19 points. But what I'm going to take away one of those touchdowns. Okay? And I'm going to give them 13 points. The reason why is DeAndre Swift popped a 40-yard run to score. That's not happening against the Detroit Lions. Okay? You're not popping a 40-yard run to score. And also, if your offense is just going to get the ball out quick, get it to DJ Moore. DJ Moore is behind the line of scrimmage or he's at the line of scrimmage. That's really just an extended run game. Guess what the Detroit Lions are very, very, very good at? Stopping the run. So if this is the offense that they bring, and then also we'll have more tape on the offense when they play against the Vikings, because what are you going to do against the Vikings when they're just constantly sending pressure? You might try to throw a 1-yard pass or a 0-yard pass or a negative 1-yard pass a little bit behind you. But when they're bringing Dallas Turner off the edge, Andrew Van Ginkel and all them blowing that up on the outside, well, what are you going to do when you have to go downfield? You have to go downfield with Caleb Williams. What does Caleb Williams do worse than every other quarterback in the league? He gets sacked whenever he holds onto the ball. He holds onto the ball a lot. He plays a lot of hero ball. So if you're sending all that pressure and that quick passing, strategy breaks down, Caleb Williams, all right, right into hero ball. Okay. So now he's got to play that game before he comes into the Lions, and maybe he's not so confident in what Thomas Brown is teaching him, because he went into the game against Minnesota and he got sacked 6 times. Man, Thomas, I thought this was supposed to be fixed. We had a chance to beat the Packers and I got sacked like once or twice. Now I get sacked 6 times. I thought you were supposed to be the man, but you're not. I'm tuning you out just like I tuned out Shane Waldron. You see? That's how it works. So, yes, I do believe that we can beat the Bears. So it is tailor-made. If you got to watch that. I don't know if you watch the Packers and the Bears game, but you have to watch the game and you'll see what I mean. Not short, quick. Like, these throws were not even past the line of scrimmage. Okay? The Lions don't do that throw. Actually, when they do that throw, it fails, which is why I hate it so much. Smoke screens, and hot reads. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about wide receiver screens. I'm talking about smoke screens. That's what I mean by the short, quick throws. I don't mean like, okay, Amon-Ra St. Brown runs a 5-yard slant across the middle, or Jameson runs a 10-yard slant across the middle and takes it 60-plus yards. That's not what I mean. I mean, there is stand up and throw. There is no drop back. Okay? Caleb Williams, hut, bam. That's it. That's how fast it was getting out of his hands, because if he holds on to it, he ain't good. Yeah, so you got to watch that game, and then you'll see what I mean, TaylorMade. If you go watch it, you'll see, okay, this is what Chef was talking about. K, how many more games do we need to win to be in the playoffs? I don't think we need to win anymore. I mean, it would be crazy for us to start off 9-1 and not to win a single game. But I'm going to say 2, right? I'm going to say 2 more games. And depending on how the NFC shakes out, dare I say 1 more game. But there's no way, obviously I don't know the future. But to think that we would win only 1 or 2 more games after a 9-1 start would be crazy. But, crazier things have happened. I think the Philadelphia Eagles last year started off 10-1 and they finished 11-5. So, yeah. But this team is made of a lot better stuff than what the Philadelphia Eagles were made of last season. Yeah. Frog Quap says Swift is dealing with a groin issue. Man, you know what, man? I gave Swift his props last week. I said that he had found something. I felt like maybe he ate a magical cheesesteak when he went home to Philly. And that allowed him to stay healthy and to finish runs, and he wasn't missing any games. Now you're telling me this dude is out. He might be out for the game against the Vikings. That's typical Swift, man. Typical Swift. All right. So in short, national media has no idea what they're talking about when it comes to the Detroit Lions. No, okay, what I'm saying is I only think we need to win 2 games, maybe 1 game. But I'm saying it will be crazy to think. It would be crazy to think that that's all we're winning is 1 or 2. I'm struggling to find a loss. I do understand that we have 2 back-to-back divisional games. That's hard. You're going to see that again with the Bears. They've got 3 back-to-back divisional games, so that's even harder for them. This is a team that's been breaking streaks this entire season. Last season up through this season, we've been breaking streaks. We've been, smashing records of futility. We've been doing all this. We're on, I believe, a 7-game losing streak on Thanksgiving. I believe that comes to an end this season as well. Okay, this team is doing things. We haven't started 9-1 since 1934. Okay, we haven't started 9-1 since 1934. So what I believe is, yes, Thanksgiving is a win. Okay, so no, okay, I'm not saying I believe there's a possibility for us to finish 16-1. All right. And I'll put it to you this way. Before this season, I said 13-4, and I struggled to find losses. I didn't have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a loss. Right? I did have the Houston Texans as a loss. And we saw what happened with that. So what I'm going to say to you is this. It is more likely that we go 16-1 than my original prediction of 13-4. Okay? 15-2, fine. 14-3, fine. But 13-4, I don't see 3 more losses on this schedule. Exactly. The Lions moved to Detroit in 1934, and when they moved to Detroit, they started off 9-1. Since that day or since that time, we have not started off 9-1. Okay, so we're going for 10-1 against the Indianapolis Colts. All right, so Kay, this one is going to be right up your alley because this is what we're discussing. We're talking about the Lions' path to a first round bye. Okay, so let's see, where's the article here? Okay, here it is. So we're going to look at their path to a first round bye. Now, obviously, you win out, of course you get a first round bye. But you just need to finish first in the conference to get your first round bye. Can we do that? Yes, 100% we can. All right. So here it says, with 11 weeks in the books, the Detroit Lions are still the best team in the NFC. Some would say best team in the NFL. I would say best team in the NFL. So I'm part of that some. I'm one of the some. All right. So week in and week out, the Lions have shown off their defining traits of toughness and grit. Whether it be a thrilling comeback against the Texans or wire-to-wire dominance of Jacksonville, the Lions have proven they can win a number of different ways. Now, as a result, they have proven themselves as legitimate Super Bowl contenders. In their most recent win, a 52-6 thrashing of the Jaguars, Detroit proved that they are capable of getting up for every game, regardless of the status of their opponents. All right. Let me check and make sure my stream. One second. Because on my screen, I'm buffering a little bit, so I want to make sure I'm not doing that. Is everything cool, guys? Am I buffering at all? Or is everything good? Let me know in the chat. Second. No, okay. It looks like I'm good. All right. Yeah, I got my stuff is frozen over here. Okay, so TaylorMade Media says the Bills are the best team in the NFL. They beat the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that because I didn't believe the Chiefs were the best team in the NFL when they were undefeated. And the reason I didn't believe that they were the best team in the NFL is because I was watching them play. Right? But what I do believe, Fried Crop says the Chiefs are not as good as their record. 100%. I agree with you on that. What I do believe, though, is that it may have been bad for the Chiefs to lose. And I don't mean it was bad for them. It was bad for everyone else. Because a lot of times, and we said this before, you can't correct things in wins, right? Because it's hard to go in and tell all these grown men that came out 9-0 that they needed to fix this, that, and the third thing because they were winning, right? Now when Andy Reid goes in there and says, I told y'all we needed to clean this up, clean that up, and clean the third thing up, and they didn't, okay, yeah, all right, you got us, coach. You got us, right? So now, and Patrick Mahomes himself said they're going to use it as fuel, use the loss as fuel. So if they're really using it as fuel, if they're really more locked in, because here's the problem with the Chiefs. Them starting off 9-0 was a hindrance to their quest to three-peat, because it was too much pressure, right? Because once you got to 9-0, people were looking at you like the Patriots. Okay? Remember the Patriots came out 16-0 in the regular season, 18-0 going into the Super Bowl, lost. So people were starting to look at you like that and compare you to them, and that was a little bit too much pressure. But now that you have lost, you don't have the pressure anymore. Now you can just focus on the task at hand. The task at hand, that was the recording thing. Hold on. Sometimes you're just running out of space. I don't know how I ran out of space, but hold on, let me see. One second, let me grab this. I delete all of those. So yeah, as I was saying, like now you just get back to focusing on the task at hand, which is three-peating the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's continue. Yeah, hold on. So TaylorMade Media says Bills lost their 2 games on the road, so the Lions have a shot. But you got to beat the Colts first. I'm confident. See, this is the thing, and because on Friday I'm going to preview the Colts game. But my attitude towards this team, after watching this team for how many of the years did I know what was going on? Let's say 35 years, okay? Watching this team for 35 years, watching Barry, watching Calvin, not Matthew Stafford. I'm not a Stafford fan, okay? But I watched him. He was on the team. Did we lose Kay? I hope Kay didn't leave because she thought I was saying that we couldn't win three more games. Come on now. But watching this team, I have never had this level of confidence. There was always, but I would say no. I guess once I became a teenager, but as a kid watching Barry, I always thought that they were going to win because they had Barry. And Barry was my favorite football player ever. Because you're a kid and you don't know any better, right? You don't know any better as a kid. But since I was a teenager and since I really started playing football, because I think my first organized football team I was 9. But, you're 9 and I'm just out there trying to be Barry Sanders. That's it. I don't care about nothing else. But getting into high school and all that stuff and really kind of understanding the game more, and understanding schemes and coverages and things of this nature and just understanding what football really was. Since that point till now, I've never had this take. And my take is, as long as the Detroit Lions play Detroit Lions football and execute, they can win any game. Case in point, when we started off 10-0, or we were behind 10-0 to the Minnesota Vikings, I didn't panic. I didn't go, same old Lions, we're going to find a way to lose this game. We can't come back. 10 points is too much. Didn't. And we won. Okay? The Houston Texans, same thing. When we went down at halftime, I just said, look, the thing that I hope is that Ben Johnson goes in that halftime locker room and rips the offensive line a new one because they are not helping us do anything. That was my take. I didn't believe we were going to lose the game. And I knew we were only down 16. We could come back and win that game. And then when we were down 10 going into the fourth quarter, I was like, this game is winnable AF. Okay. I was like, if you want to be a champion, you got to go and take this. And you can go back and look at my tweets. Okay? Because I was live tweeting again because I couldn't stream it. You can go back and look at my tweets. I said this. Salute Paul Thomas. What's going on, my guy? So Frog Crop says Colts don't have enough talent to beat the Lions in all three phases. They don't. Listen, it's not always indicative to how you play against other competition. But if you take the sample size of the Minnesota Vikings playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they couldn't score a touchdown, whereas we scored 7 in a row. They gave up a touchdown, whereas we did not. If you looked at that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars for both teams, you'd probably say that the Lions are the better team. It's not always that way, but you would probably say that because it's such a big difference. If you look at how the Minnesota Vikings had to get help from the referees to beat, I'm not even going to say to beat the Tennessee Titans, but to get comfortable enough where they didn't feel like the game was in the balance. And then you look at the Detroit Lions hanging 52 on them. You would probably say the Detroit Lions are a better team. So now you look at the Colts and how they beat the New York Jets by 1. The New York Jets are a dumpster fire. It's not because they don't have the talent. It's because they have a fractured locker room. It's because they have zero, and I got to say something about that. It's because they have zero accountability in that locker room. It's because Aaron Rodgers is the leader. It's because he's toxic. It's because of a lot of things. It's because of the owner, Woody Johnson. It's because the defense, which was supposed to be so good at the beginning of the season, has seemingly stopped playing for their coach. They don't even know how to tackle, right? Did you see the thing that came out about Sauce Gardner getting the sarcastic round of applause because he made a tackle? And I don't know if he understood, like, based off of his response that I read. See, this is the time when you have to, like, listen to things. I read the response. But based off of his response, it didn't seem like he understood that it was a sarcastic round of applause. It seemed like it was like, look at our fans, man. So inspirational. You know, they're so invested. This is what it looked like. Okay. Paul Thomas says the Lions are the best team in the NFL by statistics. 100%. Right. So I would agree with that assessment. But so the Jets are a really bad football team. And it came down to the wire with this really bad football team. Now, here's the thing about the Detroit Lions. There is no sleeping. There is no nothing. All the opponents that you are going to face as a Detroit Lion are going to give you your best. What did Dan Campbell say last season before this season started? Or not last season, but what did he say before this season started? He said, we are now the hunted. We're still going to hunt. If you bring it to our doorstep, we're still going to give it to you. But we're the hunted. It's a different situation. We're getting everybody's best shot. Unless your name is the Dallas Cowboys. Unless your name is the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Tennessee Titans gave us their best shot. Okay, their best shot was 2 touchdowns and a flag waving ceremony at the end of the game. Right, they were waving the white flag. Yeah, but you're talking about Super Bowl 12 or 7. I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about this year. So yes, I am confident in my team. If we listen, here's the thing, TaylorMade, and anyone else who has doubts. I watched a football team throw 5 interceptions. And upon throwing those 5 interceptions, they went down by 16 points. That right there is enough for you to understand that our team is something special. It's something different. If you throw 5 interceptions and go down by 16 points, that's crazy. That's crazy. Right? Because if you throw 5 interceptions, you should be at least down by 30. If that 24 something, they went down by 16 points. Not only did they go down by 16 points, just only 16 points, they managed to win the football game. This hadn't happened since 1970. I was not born in 1970. I wasn't. So we're talking about 54 years. It hadn't happened in 54 years where a team, and this is the modern NFL, a team threw 5 picks, went down by 16 plus points, and still won the football game. On the flip side, we watched the Bears last year become the first team like ever in the history to win the turnover battle like 3-1 or whatever it was. I think it was something like that. And then be up by like 12 points with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and lose. That had never happened before. Right? So that's the difference between the two teams. The confidence that you can have in your team while you watch them do something insane that hadn't been done in 54 years. And then you watch the other team do something insanely bad, which had never happened before. Okay? That's the difference. That is why I have the confidence in my football team. Says you can be different until the cows come home, but that doesn't guarantee a Super Bowl championship. No, it doesn't guarantee a Super Bowl championship. It's just the confidence that you have in your team. Like, you should just be confident that this team can win the Super Bowl, right? Everyone says every year. Well, not everyone. Okay, a lot of franchises tell you that they believe that they can win the Super Bowl that year. And a lot of the fans are lying to you because in their heart of hearts, they're thinking about if everything bounces our way. 50-11 things had to bounce our way for us to win. But if all of that happens, we can win. But what I'm telling you as a Lions fan, and what, you know, these are the brand new Lions, right? Not the same old Lions. What I'm telling you as a Lions fan is nothing has to go our way. We just have to play our brand of football. That's awesome. We just have to play our brand of football. There isn't a specific set of circumstances that have to go our way. A lot of things have not gone our way. Hutch didn't go our way. Marcus Davenport didn't go our way. Alex Anzalone hasn't gone our way. A lot of stuff has not gone our way. If he hasn't played the entire season, he's back on IR again for the second time. He came off one day just so they could put him back on it again the next day. A lot of stuff hasn't gone our way, but we're playing our brand of football. That's all. Mile Marker, what's going on, my guy? You found me. You're back. Yeah, we got to have that confidence. So Frog Crop says grit, heart, and determination. This team plays as one. Not all teams play as a team. There is a difference, and that is true. All right, let's get back to examining just this very quickly. I love having these conversations with you guys, man. Like I said, we can go the whole show, and I'll just talk to the chat. You know, I'm just that type of guy. You know. Just having a Lions discussion, man. Just having a Lions discussion. Where is it? Did it close on me? I think it closed on me. Yeah, like all of my browsers closed. All of them closed. All right, let's see. Here we go. So it says, following the game, several Lions players commented on their toughness and how they can dominate any opponent. Coach Dan Campbell said the team's identity hasn't changed since he arrived and that the team is hungry and looking for more. He says, I don't know where all that's coming from, but yeah, we're just playing football and we are doing our style of game. The way we play, hell, we pulled our freaking guys out early fourth quarter, Campbell said. We're just playing ball, man. This is what we do, and we're not playing any different than we have since I got here. We're an improved team. We're a better team, and we're going to play football the way we believe in football, and that's the bottom line. Okay, so basically, as Dan Campbell's official anger translator, I'm going to tell you what he said. He said, shut the hell up, stop crying, NFL. Okay? He said, shut the hell up and stop crying. You want to beat us, beat us. If you can't beat us, zip it. Zip it and rip it, baby. All right. So as it stands, the Lions hold a one-game advantage for the top seed in the NFC playoffs. It won't be as easy to maintain this as the Lions have a road game at Indianapolis before a final 6-game stretch featuring 4 divisional games and matchups with Buffalo and San Francisco. Who is afraid of San Francisco by a show of hands? I'm putting my hand down because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Appreciate you, TaylorMade. Funny story, TaylorMade. Somebody told me I should block you from my channel. It was a while ago. It wasn't this channel. It was another channel. But I was like, the funny thing, man, is TaylorMade was the first person to come and comment on my new channel. Imagine if I had blocked him just because he had a different opinion than I did. Wouldn't that be crazy? That would be nuts. Oh, man. So, you know, again, it's all about, you know, respect, man. We can disagree. If you respectfully disagree with me, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. Unless you're someone like Nick Wright, who's just talking wild and crazy. Okay? Because you're just not coming with any respect at that point. So we have a 1-game lead over Philadelphia. Philadelphia is second in the division or second in the conference. The only difficulty that we have right now, the only blemish on our record is an NFC team, which is a problem. Okay? That's the problem. So the other problem, and this is, we just spitballing for poops and giggles here. The other problem is that 6-game stretch that we just named. There are 4 NFC teams on that stretch because 3 of them are in our division. Okay. And one of them is the San Francisco 49ers. Like I said, what is the path? The Indianapolis Colts. What is the Colts record? Can someone Google it for me right quick? I know we are 10 games in, week 11. We're 10 games in. I don't know if the Colts have had their bye yet. But what's their record? 4-6? Is it something like that? Paul Thomas, I appreciate you, man. I think they're 4-6. Or are they 5? Have they won 5 games? I think last week was their 5th game that they won. Okay. Here's the other thing that I've said. And I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm going to preview. So I'm not going to say anything. Okay. I'm not going to say too much about the Colts. The Colts are 5-6. Okay. 5-6. They believe that they're still in the playoff hunt, which they are. They believe they're still in their divisional hunt, which is very ambitious because they dropped both games to the Texans. I don't believe they're in the hunt for the division. I think the Texans still have a couple divisional games left, but see, the problem is within their division, they have both the Jaguars and the Titans. That's the problem. So I don't see the Texans dropping another divisional game. So I think they're pretty much out. Okay. They've got a shot for the playoffs. They have no shot for the division. So you might get a desperate team and they're going to be at home. So no, that's not going to be a cakewalk. The Chicago Bears is the next game. Right. The Chicago Bears is the next game. Chicago Bears coming to town Thanksgiving. I don't believe the Chicago Bears win that game. I'm not going to say I don't believe they have a chance. I don't believe they win. And here's the reason I don't believe they win. Because they dropped a game that they should have won against the Packers. Now their new offense is on tape. I don't think their new offense works well enough against the Minnesota Vikings. Even though Sam Darnold is turning back into a pumpkin before our eyes, I don't believe they pull that one out. There's 2 ways that can go. It can be very ugly or it can be very close. I don't know with the makeup of this Bears team which one is going to be more detrimental. If it's a 2-score loss, then they feel like maybe even with this new offense that they're running, they were still outclassed by the Minnesota Vikings. They can't compete in the division. That's in the back of their heads when they come into Detroit. If it's a 1-score at the buzzer type of loss, like the Packers game, that could also weigh on them because it's too such. Okay. So even if it's close at the end of the game with the Lions on Thanksgiving, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Okay. Just like a lot of Lions fans are waiting for the other shoe to drop, the Bears may be waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I believe that whatever is happening with the Bears, it's more mental. Okay. I believe it's more mental. As long as they can rein Caleb Williams in, it's more mental. If Caleb Williams has another game against the Vikings like he had against the Packers where he throws for 200 plus yards and he rushes for 70 plus yards with his terrible, very ugly, very bad running style. Okay. He looks awful when he runs. I'm sorry. He just does. But if that happens and then they lose, again, like I said, it's just a mental thing with them. But if that happens and he loses, then with him, can he go on a third straight game where he he plays within the system and he doesn't try to play hero ball. That's the thing. So he's the wild card there. So then we move on to the Packers. The Packers are going to want some get back. They got embarrassed at home in the elements. They haven't beaten us at home in the last 3 years. They beat us at home in Detroit last year on Thanksgiving. But here's the thing about that game. It was another game like the Chicago Bears game at Ford Field. The only difference was we lost this game. Okay, we came back and we beat Chicago in the waning moments of the game. This game we lost. We lost by 7. So understanding that we only lost by 7, understanding that we owned them at Lambeau. We might as well, you might as well change the name to Campbell Field, right? It's no longer Lambeau, it's Campbell. Okay. So we beat them at Campbell Field the last three years. Now we want our lick back because you're not about to start a streak in Detroit. Okay. And we have a better team than we had last year. Are the Packers better than they were last year? Slightly. I would say that we are much better, not because we've added a bunch of pieces in the secondary. We revamped the entire secondary, and that's really one of the reasons that we're much better. But the offense seems to only be able to stop itself. There hasn't really been a team that has stopped this offense. So I don't see it going the Packers' way. And then Jordan Love, again, and if you're a Jordan Love fan, I don't know why. And again, I understand the arm. I understand the gunslinger mentality. But just, you got to trust me. Watch the man make decisions. He doesn't do it well. The decisions he makes are poor. He makes poor decisions. I promise you. Go back. Speaking of the Bears game, go back and watch that throw that he made to Christian Watson. Go back and watch it. When he threw it into double coverage. If you didn't see it, he threw the ball. Before he threw the ball, he knew he was throwing it into double coverage. What happened when Christian Watson caught the ball is it was basically single coverage because his safety, or the safety that was helping the corner over the top, fell down. The ball was already in the air. He was trying to adjust to the ball and fell, which was why it was just Christian Watson over the top of the corner making the catch in between a corner and a safety that was falling down on the ground as he was catching the ball. You put Kirby Joseph over the top there, guess what's happening? That's a pick. Okay? So he threw 1 interception. He should have thrown 2. All right? Jordan Love, listen, yes, it's not hate tailor-made. It's not hate. Just watch the decisions that he makes. He makes bad decisions. He threw a ball standing still 10 yards over his tight end's head for an interception. Listen, I'm right. You just got to believe me. Okay? You just got to believe me. You don't throw 11 interceptions in 8 games making good decisions. You don't. You just don't. And I know Jared Goff has 9, and he had 1 anomalous game, and Jared Goff also has played 2 more games than Jordan Love. He's played 2 more games and has 2 less interceptions. And 1 really bad, really uncharacteristic game where he threw 5. I'm just saying. He threw them, yes. Okay? But I gave you the example yesterday about, Pac-Man Jones and someone else that just crashes out one time and gets arrested. You're going to believe the guy that crashed out one time he's a better person than you're going to believe Pac-Man Jones, who's made a career of getting arrested, right? He spent a lot of time behind bars, different jails, different times, different reasons. Okay. All right. 9 is still 9. 9 is still 9, and they're not all 5-yard routes. I don't know why. See, you believe that he's a civilian, don't you? You believe Nick Wright. You agree with Nick Wright. Okay. All right. So I don't think that the Packers win that game. Now, going on to the Bills. This is the only game that scares me. And I'm going to be honest, because Josh Allen scares me. He scares me because he only has 5 interceptions this season, which means Josh Allen is being a little bit more careful with the football. Josh Allen is a double-digit interception guy every single year, right? We're through 10 games. He has 5. I think through the first 7 weeks, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't throw 1. Okay? So maybe what we are seeing is he's kind of reverting back to his old ways as just a guy that doesn't take care of the football like Jordan Love. I'm not afraid of the weapons Josh Allen has. He's got a big, strong, physical receiver. We've got a big, strong, physical corner. He's got Khalil Shakir, who's shifty. We've got Terrion Arnold. You know, we got one of the best, I think the best tackling corner in Amik Robertson per PFF. We got Kirby Joseph. We got Brian Branch. Smash and grab is back there. We got those guys. I'm not worried about Josh Allen's vertical attack. I'm not really worried about James Cook in the running game. Where I would be more so worried about James Cook would be because we're down Anzo. And Jack Campbell is not the greatest in coverage. So if you are using James Cook in the passing game, I would be more worried about that. And they do use him in the passing game. The Buffalo Bills defense is surprisingly good. I thought they were going to be terrible. I thought losing Stephon Diggs was going to help them. Just like I thought he would be the cancer that destroyed the Texans. And I was half right? Because him leaving the Bills has helped them, has helped Josh Allen to not have to worry about him and getting him the ball and keeping him happy because he's a diva. But their defense, because they lost everybody. I thought that their defense would be bad, but obviously, shout out to Sean McDermott, who's an excellent defensive coach, and he's coaching up that defense, and he's got them playing pretty well. They're not dominant. I would even venture to say that they're not as good as our defense, but they're pretty damn good, and they're good in the back end as well in the secondary, which could pose problems. So I believe that the Bills game will be pretty close. However, if it's only Josh Allen, we've seen Josh Allen crash out and throw multiple picks trying to play hero ball. So if we can force him into that role, and then also depending on what we look like against Anthony Richardson on Sunday, that would give us confidence into going against really. The next 4 quarterbacks that we're playing against are mobile, but Anthony Richardson by far is the one that's going to be closest to Josh Allen because he is actually better than Josh Allen mobility-wise. This is what I'm saying, mobility-wise. He is not better than Josh Allen as a quarterback. No. Not saying that at all. Yeah, Taylor May says, all I know, Josh Allen ran the football 30 yards for a TD to win the game the other night. He most certainly did. As I said, Josh Allen as a runner scares me. Okay? Josh Allen as a total package scares me, terrifies me. I'm not going to lie to you. But I also do know that AG is the one that came up with the blueprint to stop Lamar Jackson when you have nobody. Okay? We had nobody on our defense. We were still stopping Lamar Jackson. So then after that, we have the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers may need to beat the Detroit Lions to get into the playoffs. They're not going to win their division. I believe Arizona will probably win their division. People have pointed out the late season collapses of Arizona, but then also you have to point out that that was under Cliff Kingsbury. I think Jonathan Gannon has his team playing very well. They're playing for him. They're playing for each other. Kyler Murray isn't playing Call of Duty like that anymore. Shout out, I almost bought Call of Duty last night, but I didn't. Because I downloaded X Defiant. I don't know if y'all heard of X Defiant. I forgot it was a thing, and then I saw it, so I downloaded it. But anyway, the 49ers are a team that's down. We've got two things. We've got those two things working in our favor. The 49ers were not supposed to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl last season. That was supposed to be the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell has admitted that they watched that game. And they watch it. And they watch it some more. I guarantee you that the only thing that they're going to have to do leading every day of practice. I don't even think that they have to practice. I think they just have to watch the last, let's say the last 10 minutes of that game before you start practice. And now with Game Pass and you can watch a whole game in 40 minutes, hell, they might even watch the whole game before every practice. Or they might just take 20 minutes and watch the second half and then be like, all right, let's go to work. I think we're going to be up for that game. Jahmyr Gibbs has already said, if you didn't watch the interview with Jahmyr Gibbs and Richard Sherman, he was on Richard Sherman's podcast. He's already said, yeah, just like the Dallas game, yeah, we wanted some get back. And we want some get back against the 49ers. We got to get our lick back. He's already said it. Okay? So this team has two things going for it. We have laser focus on our particular opponent every week, but we also have laser focus on righting wrongs. We had a laser focus on the Dallas Cowboys. We have a laser focus on the San Francisco 49ers. We have a laser focus on the NFC Championship game, and we have a laser focus on the Super Bowl. And we're able to compartmentalize those focuses. We're able to, we have laser focus in two different eyes, which is crazy, right? So our left eye is looking directly in front of us at Indianapolis. Okay? Our right eye is looking directly over Chicago, Green Bay to Buffalo. Okay? You see what I'm saying? And then to San Francisco. So we're able to look at multiple things on all fronts. The thing with Anthony Richardson tailor-made is unless he's prone to injury. And we know he's prone to fatigue. You know, I'm tired. I got to get out. Okay. So he's prone to injury. And again, all it takes is one Brian Branch hit, and we might see Joe Flacco. So the NFC West with San Francisco, like I said, depending on how they come together. They just lost to, who did they just lose to last week? Who were they playing? I don't remember who they were playing, but I know they lost. Christian McCaffrey thinks he can play a whole lot better. Like I said, the Detroit Lions, they do what we do. They do best what we stop best, which is run the football. You know, Brock Purdy has Jawan Jennings and Deebo Samuel. George Kittle was injured. I don't know what the extent of his injury is. He'll probably play against the Lions. We got Brian Branch who can cover George Kittle. Like, we are a very bad matchup for the San Francisco 49ers. And that was last year when we had less pieces than we have now. So this is the path. They beat the Bucs, but they lost to someone last week. They lost to somebody. The Bucs was when Jake Moody missed 3 field goals, and made one at the end. So I can't remember who they played last week, but they lost to him. So realistically, what did Dan Campbell learn? I don't know. Here's the thing, right? Let's say we go into the last week. We're 15-1, and we're closing out the season at home against the Minnesota Vikings. Do you rest your starters? That's a question I want you guys ask, because I have my answer, but I want you guys to tell me in the chat, what do you think? If we go in and we're 15-1 or 14-2, whatever, number 1 seed in the NFC is already locked up. Do you rest your starters? And there's a reason I'm asking that question. For me, I think it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22 whether you rest your starters or not. The reason I say that is because if you rest your starters and the 1 seed in the NFC is already locked up, that means your starters are going to have 2 weeks off. You're playing the Vikings. So that may be like your pride for sweeping the division, all that stuff. But if you rest your starters, they're not going to play football for 2 weeks. And with the whole rust versus rest argument, debate, whatever, we know where Dan Campbell stands. So he's probably not going to rest the starters. But then what does he learn from last year where he didn't rest the starters and Sam LaPorta got hurt? Now, Sam LaPorta was able to go ahead and play through the playoffs, but he was hobbled in that first game against the LA Rams. Give him the first half of games. That's an option. That's an option, right? But that would be assuming, like you said, first half of game. So you think they're gonna lock it up before the last week? Somebody on the O-line. Well, see, yeah, the O-line. See, but that's the tough part, right? So yeah, I would agree. I would say that would be the best strategy. Just play them in the first half and then just let them sit, because the O line is like you don't want to be resting O lineman and then have Jared Goff behind and then getting killed. Nah, you don't want that. So I would say my Marcus says yes, rest the starters. That's the only thing. The rest versus rest. And here's the thing. If you finish 16-1, that means you had a rhythm all year. Right? You didn't just limp into it. Because for us to this last stretch of games, for us to win all of these games, we do have to play our best football. We have 4 divisional games, right? 2 against Chicago and 1 each against Green Bay and Minnesota. So we do have to play our best football in order to come out of this thing 16-1. Now you've been playing your best football all season. Besides the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which you lost, and the game against the Texans, which you won, then do you disrupt that rhythm? See, this is the thing. It's a catch-22. I wouldn't say I guess you could say rhythm would equal momentum. I just feel like the way that they're playing football, like they're in tune, they're in sync with each other. You know what I mean? The game plans are working. The offense, they're playing complementary football. Everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing and what they've been doing all year, and then you give them 2 weeks off. Does that disrupt what they're doing? That's my whole thing. How is Jared Goff getting hurt handing the ball off? Well, I mean, if he's just handing the ball off, then put in Hendon Hooker. There's no reason for him to be in there handing the ball off. Anything could go wrong. I mean, the center could step on his ankle. When he had the ankle issue, when did he have the ankle issue? What game was that? Was that the Cowboys? No, I don't think it was the Cowboys game. It was a game where he got sacked and he was like backing up and his ankle kind of buckled underneath him, right? So I mean, you can get hurt anyway on the football field. Well, what's his name? Dre Greenlaw. I think it was Dre Greenlaw got hurt last year in the Super Bowl running onto the field, tore his Achilles. Do the Chiefs sit their starters? I don't know. I know they sit them during the preseason. I mean, but you just have evidence. Like, I think didn't Lamar get the 1 seed one year? I think if it wasn't Lamar, I know it was the Ravens, because I remember John Harbaugh having the 1 seed one year and it's just coming out and I think he got beat or something. I mean, it happens like all the time where a team, well, I'm not going to say all the time. That makes it sound like every year. But it's more common than we may think. A team rests their starters after securing the 1 seed, gets the break of 2 weeks, and then comes out and looks rusty and loses, or looks rusty and doesn't win in the way that they should win, and then they go on to lose the next week. Yeah, there's no Lamar slander here. I love Lamar, which is which is why I don't want to fit. So there's the only team I really want to face in the Super Bowl is the Kansas City Chiefs. or the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I believe we can. I know we can beat the Chiefs. I know we can beat the Steelers. But then the Steelers got T.J. Watt over there. I don't know. T.J. Watt versus Penei Sewell. I think it'll be a pretty even matchup. The Ravens is a pride one, right? It's like if I wanted to face the Ravens, I just want to get my get back. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I want Chiefs versus Lions because I believe that the Chiefs is the only team that we could play in the Super Bowl and win and get respect. Right? Just imagine Nick Wright's dumb face on the show the next day while he has to begrudgingly give the Lions their props. Right? While he has to talk about how his beloved Patrick Mahomes and all the other QBs that are on Mahomes Mountain could not manage to beat Jared Goff yet another time. And he's 0-3 all time versus Jared Goff. I would love to see his face. I would love to see him squirm. And a lot of other people in the national media. Keyshawn Johnson, Shady McCoy, Nick Wright. There are others. Okay? There are others. I just want to see him squirm. Just want to see him squirm. If you're not on the Lions, bandwagon, which you don't have to be, but just don't have crazy takes like Jared Goff is a civilian. Guys, once again, appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate you hanging out all the time. Every time you come through, I appreciate you. It's all love here. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. Make sure you let everybody know what's going on around here. Let everybody know that the Motor City Cats are back at it. And we came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. I am your host, Motor City Don P. MCDP is what they call me in the streets. And I will see you next time. Not mañana, but Friday. Peace.